Here we go. And we're live.
Yay!
Welcome to Fan Flak. This is the paranormal becoming a real little science episode. With us is Monica Rose Kiesel. Am I pronouncing your last name right, hon?
Yes, you are.
I am. All right. How long have I known you? So it's a good thing, you know.
Yeah, it's German, so.
Yes.
Well, whenever you enter Monica's name, you always have to make sure you put the middle name.
Yeah, oh, I know.
Because there's somebody with the same name without the rose on it that passed away in Indiana.
I did not know that.
Yeah, because I was trying to search her name to find a little bit more about her, but all I could come up with was the lady in Indiana that passed away.
Well, she writes under other names. So.
Why is it glowing in here?
Hang on.
Connor?
Yes, Connor?
Why is it glowing in here?
Oh, I just have a light that does different colors.
Hi, Connor.
He left. He was commenting about my light.
Okay. Why is it glowing in here?
Well, and then he came earlier and he says, tomorrow's Valentine's Day? And I said, yes. And he says, don't forget you have to buy me presents.
Yeah. He understands how things work.
Exactly. Yep. The kids all got it down. It's like my grandson, whom we will soon be able to use his name. Now we still have to go by the advisory of the Children's Bureau, but we call him Little Man on social media, and he said, "Why all the hearts?" Actually, he said, "Why the hearts?" And I said, "Valentine's Day." Yeah, what that? He's at the age where everything's a surprise. So anyway, we have Monica here because she is as knowledgeable as I am. Yes, that is Monica Rose. The fellow in the middle is my co-host, my brother, and that Oscar-winning rabbit, Mark Tanner. Tanner was my maiden name, you see. I actually got a message from somebody saying, if you're brother and sister, how come you don't have the same last name?
Oh, gee, that was somebody with a lot of smarts.
Oh, yeah. Here's you. There are 8 million reasons for that, guys. Not all things have the same.
And this is not the Naked City.
No.
See, you would have to be our age to know what that little thing I just said meant.
Just use the hell out of tons of Gen Zs.
There are 8 million stories in the Naked City, and this has been one.
And ain't you glad? I must, first of all, I'm not wearing it because it put a big shadow on my face, but I got sent this by a friend of mine. It's the official Puppet History cap. Puppet History is a wonderful show on YouTube that I just think is wonderful.
What is it about? Besides puppets.
It tells forgotten history, stuff you never heard about, only with puppets.
Would a kid find it interesting?
No. It's an
okay.
With puppets rather than the history of puppets.
Exactly.
Because Connor loves Sesame Street.
I know.
And all the puppets.
No, if it had been something for kids, I would have already told you all about it. But it is very adult.
Like Connor was telling me the other day, he says, you know that Ernie and Kermit are the same person. And I said, yes, I know. And he says, Jim Henson. And I said, yeah. And he says, he died. And I said, yeah, how does he still do the voices, Connor? And he looks at me like I'm crazy. And he says, Well, it's somebody else. Yeah.
Yeah, Gramps, you're losing it.
I was wondering what unknown history about puppets there really was.
Yeah, there's not. It just the guy who the two people who essentially run the whole thing are Shane Bagara and no Shane Medish and Ryan Bagara, who were the hosts of BuzzFeed's Unsolved, and they're hilarious.
Well,
And
BuzzFeed got kind of wiped out by Apple, didn't they?
yeah, kind
Because
of.
BuzzFeed had that bootleg iPhone that they weren't supposed to have.
Yeah.
They took pictures and put a report on their website about it, and then Apple sued them.
Well, Ryan and Shane were essentially the best things about BuzzFeed. So they did a very smart thing. They went out and got funding and started their own YouTube channel.
Good for them.
So they have Watcher. That's the name of their channel. All their stuff is hilarious. And they even like ghosts. So, well, Shane is a skeptic. But
Well, I do want to mention one thing, and then we need to let Monica get going because she hasn't said hardly a word. And this is supposed to be about her.
yeah.
So anyway, I saw something during the week. It's called a SNOPA, SNOPPA rover, ROVER. And this is a mobile three-wheeled computerized tripod.
Wow.
That will follow you around, and you can program its path, and you can make a movie with it. Like if you want to, you've seen the scenes where they have somebody like standing there with his arms up in the air, and they'll have the camera person go around them in circles. Well, you could do the same thing by yourself with this piece of equipment.
Wow.
It just came out this week. If you buy them right now off of the Kickstarter program, it's $2,499. If you wait until the Kickstarter's over, it's $3,500.
Wow.
But so look it up. It's really cool. There's a lot of videos on YouTube of it.
It sounds cool.
And
Let's
since
Go is
since this is supposed to be an entertainment show, I thought I'd bring up a piece of entertainment.
No, that's what this is about. New technology, fan stuff, you know. Speaking of new technology, Monica is since we're talking about the paranormal as the new normal, the new paranormal. Have you been following any of the stuff that's been happening, the UFO, UAP stuff, and
Blind Frog.
What's that?
Blind Frog.
Yeah, that stuff.
Those things.
What's that? I'm sorry, you're breaking up.
I said I have following, but I do find it interesting. Those things interesting. Yeah.
True. Well, Blind Frog Ranch and Skinwalker Ranch, which are about 20 miles apart, they finally fessed up to that on Blind Frog Ranch the other day.
Yeah, they're right next to each other.
Yeah.
In fact, that ridge that runs through Skinwalker Ranch, it also runs through Blind Frog.
Oh.
Yeah, it's the other side.
It continues on down.
Yeah.
By the way, that young guy on Blind Frog Ranch has serious daddy issues.
Well, that guy that was on, it did some writing about the Skinwalker. You see him on the Blind Frog one there too sometimes. Yeah. That Ryan Skinner.
Skinner, yeah. Our friend who was here last week is his co-writer, or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it was about a month ago, actually.
Was it?
Yeah.
The old gray matter ain't what it used to be.
Hey, that's cute. I like that.
Thank you. Anyway, what interests me is that suddenly it's mainstream. People are talking about and all the paranormal podcasts.
Uh-huh.
There's a YouTube channel headed by a physicist who talks about, like, it used to be pseudoscience was an insult.
Yeah.
So he's talking about pseudoscience like it's these misunderstood sciences. It's like, when did this happen? I mean, I go from my childhood where I was laughed at for checking out a book on UFOs by the librarian at our school. And now it's official. So it's almost like the entire world has shuffled itself. And not in that, stupid Mandela effect way, but or Mandela effect. I was thinking it was Mandela, like a, and then I find out it's Mandela.
Yeah, Nelson Mandela is what it's named after.
Got bad memories is what it is.
That's actually a example.
Yeah. It works. But what amazes me is that, here we are. We have mainstream shows that are about the paranormal. Because, by God, if you put the stuff going on Skinwalker Ranch in a house, they'd say it was haunted.
It'd be poltergeist.
Yeah. And so why is it that's science? And the kids on Kindred Spirits get trolled at because they're ghost hunting. I mean, they're doing the same stuff that they're doing at Skinwalker Ranch. And, it's just, we've got to wake up and realize. And, I've been watching, have you watched that show, Unidentified? You have, Mark? Okay.
With Stephen Greer?
No. The one with Hector Elizondo?
Yeah, but Stephen Greer's on a small portion towards the end of it.
Okay.
They talk about the press club. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Yes.
Stephen Greer put a New York press club get together with all these people who had witnessed UFOs, and the Pentagon came out and admitted that the UFOs are real and that we have been contacted by 2 different races of aliens. And this is the Pentagon.
Yeah. Skinwalkers at the Pentagon was officially sanctioned by the Pentagon. They're talking about Skinwalker. That's what people aren't noticing, and it's making me nuts.
Now, just to let you know about something, I did a little looking into who's the aerospace guy that owns Skinwalker? What's his name? Robert?
Brandon Fugel?
No, not no, the guy that owned it before him.
Oh, Robert Bigelow.
Yeah, Bigelow. Bigelow had a lot of skin in the game, so to speak, in terms of coming up with something paranormal would benefit him financially.
Okay.
So you gotta kind of look at that.
Let me give you a little skepticism about your skepticism, okay?
Okay.
There are disinformation people out on the net right now, and they're heavily on Facebook too. Dr. Schindler's been talking about the fact that Phil Klass was an intelligence agent, and that a lot of the skepticism is just counterintelligence. So,
Well, they said that Bigelow was pretty tight with George Bush Sr., the one that was the head of the CIA. At what time?
That makes him even more acceptable in my book. I mean, he's a mainstream intelligence guy, so he's not going to endanger his life by streaming bullshit. So
Streaming? Now that would be a hell of a podcast. That would be a hell of a podcast. Streaming bullshit.
streaming bullshit. Yeah.
All right, that's it. We're doing that podcast.
Okay.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
Streaming bullshit.
Bullshit.
We can
All
have,
right.
maybe we can get your buddy Linda Blair to use her picture with pea soup coming out of her mouth.
I don't know. She's pretty particular about what she does anymore.
I know. Well, they have to be.
We tried to get her to do the ribbon cutting ceremony at our haunted house, and she told me, she says, Mark, I'd love to do that. She says, but you have to remember that Halloween is the only day of the year that I get to work.
It's true.
Yeah.
She's got a paranormal show that they've got streaming. So anyway, but yeah, we got to do streaming bullshit. But my point is that the Blind Frog Ranch and Skinwalker and all of this is all part of the announcement about the UFOs, because paranormal and UFOs, that goes together, and so does Bigfoot and all of that stuff.
Well, all paranormal means is things that are not normal. I mean,
yeah, exactly,
beyond normal.
Me.
Yeah, there you go. And they now we have these people that are coming out and saying the paranormal. Well, you know, these tic tacs they've been talking about, the flying tic tacs, the 40-foot tic tacs.
Yeah.
When you look at all of the elements that constitute them, and you look at the white papers they've done on them, they don't sound like vehicles to me. They sound like creatures.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the footage from the fighter planes?
Yeah.
Of them chasing the? They look like vehicles on that. I mean, that would be something for a physical being to be able to make the moves and things that those things did.
Yeah, but Mark, what's the difference between a vehicle and a body? I mean, you know, these are...
Well, one's made out of titanium and the other one's made out of skin. So that would be...
But is it made out of titanium? What is this thing made out of? This Tic Tac?
Well, yeah, we have no idea.
Yeah, and I honestly think we're going to start thinking of it in terms of a creature. Because, I mean, when you're talking about some magic thing that can change shape and disappear and go from standing still to in a second.
Well, it never disappeared. It just took off.
No, it disappeared.
Well, only because it traveled so fast that you couldn't see it.
Well, that's the supposition. But,
yeah.
I mean, it has to be working at a dimensional level for it to move that quickly in this universe.
Yeah, they said that the last tracking we had of it was it traveling at 12,000 miles an hour, which is like, 6 times the speed of sound?
Yeah. They have it at 12 times the speed of sound, according to the documentary I did.
Well, that'd be 24,000 miles an hour then.
You know, this thing is not working by any laws of this universe.
Well, let's see now. The speed of sound when you're up in the air, I think, is like a little less than 800.
Yeah.
So.
Well, if this thing is a creature, what's the difference between this amazing flying creature and a skinwalker or an angel?
Who knows?
Or, I mean, that's the thing, is we live in a magical universe, and they just haven't let us know that.
Well, they were playing an earlier version of Chariots of the Gods on, I don't know if it's on Amazon Prime or on, but it wasn't the good one. The good one's the one that was narrated by Rod Serling.
Yeah.
He
at the theater.
But this one contained a lot of the same bullshit footage. That was the problem with that, is he made up a lot of the stuff that he had on that thing. It wasn't true.
Yeah. Yeah.
He showed this temple in Turkey that supposedly had this picture of a flying saucer, and somebody followed up on the show and went to that place and went and looked, and it's something completely different than what he said it was. It was a different picture. It wasn't what he said it was at all.
Well, it's Eric Von,
I mean, it was just a shame, because there's all sorts of things out there that make you think that it's true, but.
Well, that's why some people think that Eric Von Däniken was disinformation.
Yeah, they were deliberately with the Majestic 12 and Operation Blue Book and all the different ones, that most of that was, the only one in Project Blue Book that was any good was Major Kehoe.
Yeah.
Major Donald Kehoe.
Yeah.
That's what got me into flying saucers. Was he had a book out called Flying Saucers Are Real.
Yeah.
It was written by Major Kehoe.
Well, that, and we saw the UFOs.
Yeah, Melanie and I saw UFOs. We used to go out in the backyard, and this is during the time period when Lost in Space was on.
Yeah,
and we lived out in the desert, and the sky looked like Lost in Space. All the stars were so bright. It wasn't like now when it's smoggy out there, but back then. And we used to get our grandfather's binoculars and lay on the lounge chairs out in the backyard and look at the stars. And we're out there one day, and this was near George Air Force Base, which was in Victorville, California. And we saw these two triangular-shaped ships up in the sky. The only way you could see them is because they blanked out the stars as they went over.
The stars. And
so who knows what they were? I mean, we had no idea. They could have been some kind of, it wasn't so huge or anything to where it couldn't have been some military craft out there. But
and we were right near George, so.
And Melanie and I used to live across the street from a documented haunted house.
Yeah, we did.
Wow.
And it was really weird. We lived on Sherwood Avenue in Big Bear.
Okay.
So we got this book out of the library, and we were both interested in haunted houses. So we're looking through the different haunted houses, and we see this one that says, "This is in Big Bear." So we look at the address and said, "Wait a second, that's the house across the street." And it was all boarded up and closed out, but supposedly rocks had fallen from the ceiling on people that were living in this house.
That's why some people thought it was a Bigfoot thing, but we.
Yeah.
We never saw anything like that in
we never
Big
saw
Bear.
it.
Although we never really went out in the woods like.
No. Our mother was an alcoholic, so
she wasn't so bad back then.
Not back then. No.
She got worse when we moved to the desert, but
we kind of had to keep an eye on her.
It wasn't a pleasant situation.
Yeah. Monica, have you ever seen a UFO or anything like that?
I haven't, but I had an uncle who was in the Air Force, and my mother told me. Now they were twins, and so
Uh-huh.
they were very close. And he told me he didn't tell anybody, and he told me practically everything. He had no imagination. I mean, to the point that he barely had a sense of humor.
Yeah, I
But
have an uncle like that.
there were things he said he saw while he was flying that he could not explain, and neither could anybody else. And my mother said, I don't know how else to, because it's not like he could make it up. He has no imagination. So I haven't seen anything myself really, but that
Well, that tells you something, though. You know, it.
we can consider the source. I mean, if it was
People see. Yeah.
my
People,
father, I would question it because he definitely has an imagination, but not my uncle.
well, people see ghosts and they get laughed at, but you know, pilots see UFOs and people listen. You know.
And they have their licenses taken away from them if they
Yeah.
see UFOs. Most of the time, especially commercial pilots, they have to keep their mouths shut.
Yeah.
Well, and being in the Air Force, I mean, he told my mother. I don't think he ever told anybody else. He said he never reported because
Yeah. Oh God, no.
so, but he told her because he told her everything.
I just got the weirdest message from somebody. They wanted to know what the George Washington statue was in the background. And I'm going,
Well, they have to be talking about my stuff,
oh,
but
okay, probably.
I have nothing even remotely George Washington statue.
Nope, nope,
Nope,
nope.
there's nothing back there.
I have no idea. All I've got is a clothes horse back here.
Let's see. What do we got over here? We got nothing over there.
You don't have a George Washington statue, do you, Mark?
No, I don't.
I have Mickey Mouse. Maybe they mistook Mickey Mouse back there for George Washington.
If I was
You know,
going to be president, it was John Adams. That would have been kind
yay!
Who?
John Adams.
Oh, I thought you were talking. Said Don Adams.
No, John Adams, our cousin. Although we're probably related to John Adams too, if he's an Adams. We got a lot of Adams in our family.
yes.
What?
With only the one TV.
I met Don Adams. I never met John Adams.
That would be difficult. I stood
Yes.
right next to John Adams. He
What?
was dead, but I stood next to him.
No, that counts.
I think Don Adams is much funnier though.
I
Was
know.
was much funnier. He's dead now, but
Well, they both are.
Yeah, they're both. John Adams was pretty damn funny,
That's true.
but Don Adams was a better actor.
yeah, he was at a convention I was at, and there was nobody at his table to get his autograph, and he glances over at Tracy Lords, who was sitting on the other side of the room, and she had a huge line of people, and says, "This is all the talent in here, and everybody's in line to get that bimbo's autograph."
Get the point. While we're talking about celebrities and people who passed and that sort of thing, I need to point out that today is the first anniversary of Christopher Pennock's passing. And Chris was a good online buddy to all of us, and he went way too fast.
Yeah.
And then, of course, my daughter-in-law's mom passed. So, but that's a personal issue, and June would be standing here saying, Don't talk about me. Talk about other stuff. So I'm going to behave and do that. Now, the Oscars the nominations came out. Have you guys been paying any attention to that, or am I the only gullible?
Well, we got nominated for a couple of Oscars.
Ooh.
Our films. Whenever anybody gets nominated for cinematography, if they use our camera, we also get an award.
Oh, cool!
Makes
so sense. The owner of the company, Jared, he has three Academy Awards and 2 Emmys in his office.
Nice.
For different films that we've done. One that got nominated for an Emmy is that Queen's Gambit. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's on Netflix.
Yeah,
that was shot with our cameras.
It was very.
Well, everybody with an iPhone 13 now has.
I dare you to get an iPhone 13 and compare it to something shot with one of our cameras.
I'm joking. Well, the reason
those are pretty good, though.
Yeah, I mean they're not bad for a phone camera, you know.
Yeah.
But but the reason I asked about that is I just loved West Side Story. I thought that was just spectacular. And Mike Feist, who played Riff, he's the second lead in it, really deserved an Academy Award nomination and was not nominated. But
well, wasn't West Side Story done like back in the 60s or 70s?
No, this is a brand new film.
Oh, they've remade something else they shouldn't have remade. Huh?
No, they should have. Spielberg did it. I mean, Spielberg's a kind of controversial figure, but this film is fantastic. I'm glad they remade it. It had actual Puerto Ricans in it, for one thing.
Actual Puerto Ricans?
Actual Puerto Ricans!
Oh my God.
And in fact, that's the funny thing is the whole film is, you know, what the original should have been.
And to any of you Puerto Ricans out there, we're just kidding.
Yeah,
don't get mad.
I know that. Hey, our nephew's wife is Puerto Rican, and our nephew's wife is Puerto Rican. And our old friend, what was his name? Flying Man.
Must not have been too good a friend. Alejandro Rey.
Alejandro Rey. No, Alejandro.
I think it's Rey.
Rey.
R-E-Y.
Okay, Alejandro Rey. Yeah. But
he played. I forget what he was on the. He was always friendly with her. You were always thinking they were going to end up in some kind of romance.
Well, yeah, that's why they had him there. And the Vatican found out and had a coronary.
Well, she wasn't supposed to be Catholic, I don't think, was she?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh. They don't let you be a
Yeah. But anyway, the whole getting back to West Side Story, it's a fine film. I recommend anybody see it, and it has the same sad ending, so they didn't redo that. But
I'm just skeptical of people remaking every damn thing, like the remake in Battlestar Galactica for the 3rd or 4th time.
That makes no sense.
And now it's being remade by Ron Moore, And they're also remaking Babylon 5. And J. Michael Straczynski is going to make Babylon 5 again. And almost everybody that was on Babylon 5 is dead.
Dead, yeah.
Like three quarters of the cast of Babylon 5 have passed on. Mira Furlan, Richard Biggs, Andreas Katsoulis.
Yeah.
All those people are...
The one-armed man, yeah.
Well, he was a one-armed man. He was Tomalak on Star Trek.
Yeah. I know. It's sad. I mean, but right now, without remakes, we wouldn't have much science fiction.
There's some original stuff I like. That Raised by Wolves.
Well, yeah,
that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm talking about motion pictures, big screen. You know, there's plenty of good TV and.
Some of the stuff that they're putting out on television is amazing. Yeah. I don't know if you've seen the Book of Fett.
Yes.
It's all about Boba Fett on the Disney Channel, and it looks like a Star Wars movie. Yeah. How they were able to make this on the kind of budget they get for a television show and made it look like that. I mean, they've got that. Are you familiar with their video stage?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they have this 72-foot diameter round stage encircled by video screens, and then it has a ceiling that's also a video screen. So they can bring in dirt and stuff and put it on the stage that looks like the dirt that's on the video screen, and they can literally shoot. It says they can shoot something that happens at sunrise, and if you go out and you shoot that in real time, you have like 15 or 20 minutes to shoot whatever you want to shoot. But if you're shooting on the video stage, you can shoot that same sunrise for 8 or 10 hours.
Yeah. I think that technology got an Oscar nomination, I believe.
It should have.
Yeah, it's remade everything, and I know my friend Joanne got to go on the set of the first Star Trek reboot.
Oh yeah, the Nervous Vulcan.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Nervous Vulcan. They were doing a retrospective piece on all of the fans showing up and being in the first Star Trek film, and she was the Nervous Vulcan. She showed up for this big audition thing they had, and she was just going with my friend Marcy. She didn't want to audition for it, and of course, poor shy little Joanne, they come down and put their hand on her and say, "Yes, you are one of the chosen." And she's like, "No!"
And she was standing in the front row.
Yeah. And
Kirk was giving a speech to all the cadets, and she was standing in the front row, and she was standing there going. And that's why everybody calls her the Nervous Vulcan, because she was.
And bless her heart, she was the most unlikely one to be chosen. But she has a very elfin kind of quality to her, so she was the one they picked. But she got to go on the set, and she saw essentially that. She said it was amazing. It was huge and wild, and she couldn't talk about it at all when she first went on there. Because they all signed non-disclosure agreements, and they got to talk to Leonard.
Oh, cool!
Yeah, so that was kind of cool. And we were talking about B. Joe Trimble. She was at that, so I guess she's still among the living. Are you watching anything? I know you're not really into science fiction, Monica, but have you been watching anything that is new and wonderful?
I just watched Squid-
You're breaking up, hon.
I did watch the Squid Game. The the
The what?
the Korean limited series, the Squid Game. Which
I can't hear her either.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time hearing you, hon.
I have no idea what the problem is.
It's probably just the connection. I think what we should do is probably let you um, go on to your day, and we'll reschedule you. We'll
Sounds like a
figure
good
out
idea.
the microphone.
Okay,
Thank you,
break it
hon, for
easy.
being here. You're
Okay,
a good friend.
so are you. Bye.
Okay. Bye bye. Okay. And I could feel her.
She's getting frustrated.
Yeah.
It's easy to get frustrated when your equipment's not working correctly.
Oh, totally. Oh my gosh, yeah. It just is the most irritating thing. But anyway, let's see what else. I did get to see we subscribed to the Disney Channel finally, and I cut loose Hulu because I never watch it, and we subscribed to the Disney Channel, and I'm very impressed. They got lots of stuff on there. We got to see Rescue, which is that wonderful film, the documentary about the boys being rescued from the Taiwanese cave system.
Yeah, I heard that story. I'm somewhat skeptical of that story.
Don't be skeptical. Go watch it.
It's a film.
No, it's a documentary.
Okay.
And if you're talking about what's that guy, Alex Jones, his opinion about it. Oh no, it was Elon Musk. He's the one that was the
Well, Elon Musk paid to have them rescued.
Yes, I know. Yeah, but I'm saying that the guys down there who actually physically went into the water are in the film, and you see them doing it. So it can't be fake. I mean, not without a much bigger budget than they had. If they recreated the water system, more power to them. But it's an impressive film. I'll just leave it at that. But
I'm sure it is.
yeah. But well, speaking of Elon, what are your thoughts on his stuff these days?
I like Elon. I didn't get to actually meet him, but I saw him twice at just to tell you, before I started working for Red Digital Cinema, for about 2 years I worked for a subcontractor for SpaceX. So I did a lot of my work actually at SpaceX. So I got to go and stand up on the balcony and watch them launch a couple of the rockets, and a couple of times Elon was there.
Yeah, I know, Mark. I'm your sister.
Well, I know, but other people are out there watching this.
But anyway, I really like a lot of his ideas. I think he's a little shaky on the implementation of some of the stuff, but I love his truck RV idea. It's just, I mean, you get a car and a vehicle. I think that's just brilliant. And I know
a lot of this other stuff that's going on with that Virgin and what's it, Blue Origin, and the one that Shatner went up in.
Oh,
That didn't even go into orbit.
Yeah.
It went up to a certain height and then just turned around and came back down again.
It goes up to Vomit Comet area. I mean, that was it.
I don't know why he didn't go up in Elon's rocket, because that thing went up and what do they call it? Docked with the International Space Station.
Yeah.
And one of the things I inspected is the docking ring for the International Space Station. So I inspected it.
You did. You inspected it, by God.
Yep. Yes, I did. I even have a picture of it somewhere. I'll show it to you someday.
Okie dokie. Have you ever had any contact with Mr. Shatner?
No, never.
Um,
I have his autograph that I got from Pam Blackwell. I don't know. I told you about Pam Blackwell, didn't I?
Mm-hmm.
And she was, what do you call it? A bit player or something. She was in Generations. When the Enterprise rescued all those people from Guinan's planet,
Mm-hmm.
one of the people was Pam Blackwell, and she passes in front of the camera, but they edited that out when they made the movie.
That's an extra.
And she was, let's see, what else was she in? Well, she was in Independence Day, where the president of the 12 colonies was married to the president of the United States.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Mary, what's her, McDonald?
Yeah.
She's the one that, on Battlestar, she played the president of the 12 colonies. And in Independence Day, she played the president's wife.
Yeah.
And she was dying. And they wanted the president to be able to talk to his wife in private. So the nurse took his daughter out of the room. And the nurse was Pam Blackwell.
Pam Blackwell, yeah.
So
that's cool. But
she was in the Blob too, the remake.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, and so was her brother.
Well,
I had one of the contamination suits that I bought off of her brother from the Blob.
Oh yeah.
He's the one I got the mask from Betty and Barney Hill.
Yeah.
That was used in that movie.
I remember that. Do you still have that?
No, I sold it. And the gorilla costume, Monica still has the gorilla costume.
Oh, I remember that well.
Yeah, she says it's kind of rotted, but she still got the...
Rose, but Monica Ortloff.
Yes, not that Monica, sorry. No. Yeah, different Monica.
Yeah.
Old friend of mine.
Yeah, don't go asking Monica Rose for...
the gorilla costume. She won't know what you're talking about.
Yes, she will.
She said, I beg your pardon, I never went out with Mark even once.
Honestly. Well, the reason I asked that is he's a rather pernicious fellow when you deal with him. But then again, you hear nice things too. So I think he's a lot like Tommy Lee Jones, who you hear angry things about, but then everybody I know who's had direct connections with Jones says he's warm and friendly and kind, and he just hates the press.
Well, you can't tell. The actors that I've run into, there's really only two of them that I think are genuine a-holes.
Yeah.
Andrew Prine.
Yeah.
And Malcolm McDowell.
Yeah.
And those are two people that I would not wish to see again. Yeah. Let's just put it that way. Andrew Prine was really unpleasant. We saw him at StarCon.
And he's like nobody.
Yeah, not really. He was in V.
Yeah.
And he hasn't done anything in ages.
Well, they say the bigger they are, the better they are.
Well, I found that most of the ones that were bigger were nicer.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, like William Shallert.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the name, a lot of people don't even know who I'm talking about. He played Patty Duke's father on the Patty Duke show. He played the Admiral on Get Smart, the one that always fell over. And he was in, there was some show on the Disney Channel that Allison used to like.
Yeah.
About a family. And he played like the grandfather on that show.
Yeah.
So, but he was just as nice as could be.
Yeah.
Bent over back. Richard Hurd, who he played the next door neighbor on Eight Is Enough.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the thing that got me about all the hacking on Tommy Lee Jones is, one, he paid for the meals of all the people at the Houston Astrodome after Katrina, and no one knows that. They all hear what a jerky is to press people, but they don't hear stuff like that. And he also, a friend of mine, it was her first celebrity interview. She showed up at his hotel room and promptly vomited all over his boots. So she's like terrified because this is, and he brought her in and helped her get cleaned up and called his wife over, and his wife helped her change and loaned her clothing. They were just really sweet, nice people. And so, if you hear things about other people, you should keep that in mind.
Well, I think like you were talking about Shatner, that most of his problem were with individuals. They weren't with, like, he had problems with Scotty.
Oh yeah, he's a nice man.
Yeah, but he did not like Shatner.
No.
He was in a few things with him, but he didn't like him. Nichelle Nichols wasn't a big fan of Shatner either.
Yeah. Jimmy Doohan,
yeah. That for some reason. Now, George Takei is kind of on the border. Now, Nimoy loved him. Him and Shatner were buddies.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think Shatner thought Nimoy was on the same level. And I think that's one of Shatner's things is but that said, everybody talks about D. Kelly and the fact he didn't go to his funeral. But the fact of the matter is, Shatner doesn't go to funerals. And also he actually went to the actor's home and visited with Dee before he died. So, he actually went there and, dealt with all of that. So, I'm saying all of this because last week I kind of went ballistic on a couple of other people. And it's important to remember that even the worst person has a good side. And Hitler was a great artist.
I've seen his paintings. He wasn't that great.
Yeah, I know. I was totally joking with him.
Now, a lot of the people that are on Star Trek I have seen at the conventions. I never saw Nimoy or Shatner. I have both of their autographs just because, one of my friends used to live down the street from Nimoy.
Okay.
And he gave him an autograph picture. And he didn't really want it, so he gave it to me. So, and the one I have of Shatner, Pam Blackwell made a baseball pool for the Dodgers and the Baltimore Orioles, or I forget who it was that were playing, but for the World Series. I don't think it was the Orioles, but whoever it was the Dodgers. And Shatner bought 2 squares on the pool, and he signed one, and he signed his wife's name, the one that died in the swimming pool.
Yeah.
And he had her name on the other one, Elizabeth Shatner.
Yeah.
And I've got quite a few autographs on this. Robert Wise, the director, he signed it. And it was pretty cool.
Yeah, the only autograph. Wait, I get an autograph and I generally give them away. I mean, I got that. I got that for her though. I got the picture from the Caroline in the City cast with the autographs on it that I gave to Allison. That was a TV show that was on back in the 80s. And that's what I do with autographs.
And Allison doesn't really collect very many autographs. She has a poster autographed by the 3 Chiodo brothers.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're familiar with who they are. Yeah. But they did Killer Clowns. And the star was there, and he signed the poster for Allison. So
Killer Clowns #1 fan.
Yep. Yeah, well, the Chiodo brothers also did Critters.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'd seen.
Like a movie.
Yeah, they're all B movies, like Roger Corman. They're probably a little better than Corman stuff, I think.
Yeah, well, it doesn't take much. But
now, you know the big thing about, especially this is a Disney connection with Killer Clowns, right? You know what the Disney connection is?
No.
The old man at the beginning with the hound dog. He's the guy that did the voice of Abraham Lincoln at Disneyland.
Oh, okay.
And he played young Abraham Lincoln in a movie back in the 40s.
Cool.
And that's how Walt saw him. We had 3 minutes.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking. Well, I guess we should wrap things up. We didn't talk a whole lot of paranormal, but we did talk a bit. And we will...
I'm wrapping things up.
Oh, Earth humor. Now I'm doing poor old Robin Williams as Morph. By the way, yes, everybody who's pointed this out to me, I realized that my brother and sister were Mark and Mindy.
They were Mork and Mindy.
I know it was Mork and Mindy, but I've had 3 people point out, because I wrote this thing.
Oh, that your brother and sister are Mark and Mindy. Yeah. Yeah, but her name really wasn't Mindy.
No, it was Melinda. And
yeah.
We never called her Mindy. Her friends called her Mindy. We all called her Minky. And
yep. Well, that's what Mom called her.
Yeah. She was Minky, Mark was Marky, and I was Moki.
I was Marcus.
Yeah. And you're not Marcus, you're just Mark.
Right. But she used to call me Marcus.
Yeah, I know. All right, guys. It's it for the week. And next week, we actually have a good guest who will...
Not that Monica wasn't a great guest.
But she's a terrific guest. But I mean, we'll have a whole, throughout the whole thing. And Monica stepped in because she's my friend, and I begged her. But anyway,
she had technical difficulties, so she was getting pretty frustrated. That's why
Monica's a brilliant writer. She really is. Go seek out her work. She's one of the best essayists there is. But I mean, in terms of, we'll have a guest that I won't have to lock in at the last minute kind of thing. So anyway, love you all. Have a good week. Mark, keep smiling. Well, not like that. That's creepy. And we'll see you
I
next
spent a lot of money for these teeth.
I know you did. I spent a lot of money for these teeth, too.
$30,000 I spent on these teeth.
$3,000 I spent. Bye, everybody.